Hi, folks. Welcome to another live session. I'm just going to wait a couple seconds till we get that go live button on Instagram. Looks like we should be there. Yes, looks like we are there. Welcome, Instagram. Welcome, everyone. So, today I just want to ask a question, really. So, when we look at the data and we look at the difference between people who succeed in whatever their health journey is, but we look at the difference between people who if you look at the data, most of this is on people who are looking to lose weight, simply because that's like most people's health goal. Okay. And so you take a group of people, you take a big group of people, and you ask the question, the group who succeeded in losing weight and keeping it off, that's a big piece of it, and the group who failed, right? What's the difference between those two groups? Does anyone know? You can probably know. You probably know the answer to this just by the title of this video if you're watching it. But what's the difference between people who succeed and people who don't? Hi there. Thanks for joining. Ches John Boys says, "Hey, huge fan of your videos. Cool, man. Great to have you on board." So the difference really is support. Okay. What do I mean by support? Let me just tell you. I mean, I have very few. I have lots of success stories, but I have very few stories of people who didn't succeed when they worked with me, and that's kind of a problem. Like I would like to know more about what why when people fail, why do they fail? But thinking about the one or two people among the hundreds that have helped who haven't succeeded in hitting their health goals, the difference was really they were in such an unsupportive environment. They were being ridiculed by their spouses, their kids, whatever it is. That it was just really hard for them to make progress. And eventually, I think I at least taught them how to make progress. I taught them how to get ahead, how to do what they wanted to do whenever they choose to do it. So I think I at least gave them the tools to succeed at some future point. But for those one or two people, they didn't succeed at that time because they didn't have support. And thinking about that, and thinking about how we give people support and how we sort of show up, I'm thinking, and we might well be launching a sort of new online community in the coming weeks. Okay, so that's sort of giving away the punchline here. But my question to you, like as we're designing this thing, as we're rolling it out, as we're making sure that it's a really high quality product for a really affordable price, what would you like to see? Like what kind of tools would be helpful for you? Would you like it to be more like a course, like a classroom? Would you like me to be giving lectures? Would you like it to be more like a space for people to hang out, and people are hanging out about different topics? Obviously, it's going to be focused on autoimmune, probably going to be focused on gut health, but I think, yeah, I think gut health is an opening to like everything. So if you want to lose weight, if you want to talk about your heart, if you want to talk about anything, it'll be open to that. But I think in terms of how we're framing it, it really is about autoimmune. And why autoimmune? Because I think the more that I look at the data, the more I'm coming to the conclusion that heart disease, Alzheimer's, cancer, and other chronic illnesses, they all have an autoimmune component, or they all sort of present as autoimmune, right? And so that's why I think autoimmune is a great entry point to this discussion. Garuda Legends, you're a legend. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for saying hi. Pleasure to see you here. Um, so, so like I'm saying, so the question is like, what can we do to make this the most valuable space um, that's out there, right? I know that there are many other spaces out there, and I can commend people if you're part of Dr. Barry's community or Steak and Butter Girls community. Good on you. Like that's great. That's good stuff. But what can we do to really support you in your journey? What can we do to make sure that you're going to knock it out of the park? What can we do? Maybe it's not exclusively carnivore. I mean, I think there's a big discussion going on right now. Do we need to be 100% carnivore? If I add in X, Y, or Z, will I still get results? And for me, I've never really seen it that way. I mean, I've seen it in terms of safety and efficacy. So if I smoke a cigarette, for example, or whatever it is, if I have a drink of alcohol, I know that that is not indicated behavior for humans, right? In the same way, if I have a candy bar, or if I have even a bowl of rice and things that people think of as healthy, or even other vegetables and so on, I know I have the understanding to understand that that is not these are not human indicated foods. This is not human indicated behavior. But we're living in the 21st century here, and I have access to chocolate bars, and hey, sometimes I might have a little, right? So it's a question of providing people with a balance, with a perspective to get stuff done. Now, some people, for the purposes of avoiding their trigger foods, and avoiding food addiction, we just say, look, you can't touch that stuff. If you touch that stuff, it's just a downward spiral. Fair enough. So I think there's a big difference here. And what I'm going to insist on is that the only diet that is really proven to be safe in the species Homo sapien, which is our species, is a hypercarnivorous diet, or the only range of diets are hypercarnivorous diets, which can range anywhere from 70% plus animal products and meat, all the way to 100% if you want to take it that far, right? So there's many diets that will fit those. They're not even macros, because we're not talking protein and fat here. That would be a different level of discussion. But there's many diets, including ketogenic and possibly non-ketogenic diets, that would fit this description. But all of them, that sort of category is the only thing that I'm going to insist on as being safe, right? Now, if someone says, I don't want to eat like that, that's totally fine too, man. Like, we're here to support. We're not here to give misinformation. So what we're going to say is, if you want to experiment, that's totally cool. This is what we would recommend keeping track of if you're going to be doing these experiments, because we don't know if it's safe or not. You don't know if it's safe or not. Nobody knows if it's safe or not. We do know that when humans started eating these industrial processed foods, even when humans started eating vegetables and more potatoes and tubers and that kind of stuff, the health of the human species began to decline. So we know those things for sure. What it's going to show up in a given individual, I mean, that's really hard to say. No one knows. But we would like to keep track of certain things. If someone's going to be eating a lot of plant foods, I want you to be keeping track of your insulin, right? If someone's going to be eating a lot of sugar, I want you to be keeping track of your insulin very closely, monitoring it at least a couple times a year, right? If someone is going to be eating a lot of, a lot of sort of some of these other plant toxins like almonds and so on. Almonds is one thing that's super popular in some of the keto communities, and you see people making these massive cakes and breads with almonds and so on. That's a hell of a lot of phytic acid, and so we just want to be aware, like, keep track of your autoimmune symptoms, keep track of your Hashimoto's, keep track of your whatever it is, vitiligo. When I was eating like that, I didn't really see much improvement in my vitiligo. In fact, it was getting worse at some point. And then when I got those foods out, because I did do keto before I went sort of more to a hyper-carnivore way of eating and way of living. And when I made that shift from keto to hyper-carnivore, that's when I saw the real benefits for autoimmune. That's when my vitiligo went away. That's when I completely stopped having asthma. I think it was better with keto. It was better getting the carbs out. Like, the asthma got significantly better. But when I got rid of the plant foods more or less altogether, and I still eat some plant foods. Let me just be perfectly honest here. It's not that they're completely out of my diet altogether, but they're way less, right? And also there are specific plant foods that I know I can tolerate, right? So when I started eating more like a human, in my opinion, which is a species of animal that is hypercarnivorous, that's when my vitiligo went away. That's when my asthma went away. That's when my eczema started to go away. Some of these other problems as well. So anyway, so that's my own experience. The question is really like, in this context, with this understanding, how can I help you? A lot of you have been writing me and saying, your coaching programs are quite expensive, which they are. I offer sort of, pretty intense coaching programs, group programs for people who really want to excel, for people who really have serious problems, for people who need the time, need the support, and need a lot of support. And that's a lot of my time. And, I make no bones about being someone who's done a lot of work, and so therefore, if I'm providing you great service, that's going to be a cost to that. But what I'm offering now, or what I'm thinking about offering now, is a much more affordable community space where people can just come in and chat and hang out and discuss their wins, maybe post pictures. Like, what would you like to see in such a community? I really would love any feedback. I'm also looking for beta testers. If there's someone who wants to join this community, we'll do a certain number of them free and a certain number of them at a very discounted. If you want to get on the waiting list, let me know. I will definitely send you a link to do that. But yeah, I mean, let me know if you have any thoughts. If not, it's been nice chatting. I'm super psyched about this, man, because I mean, the vision for this has always been, how can we help the most people to achieve their health goals? How can we help a broad constituency of people to reverse autoimmune? How can we help people to just be better humans and to make a better impact in the world, no matter what they're doing? Part of my frustration always was that I just think people are underperforming, man. I just think that because we are so prone to addiction, we are so prone to carb addiction, we're so prone to just feeding ourselves junk, and stuff that is and the stuff that is suboptimal. Because we're so prone to those things, I just think that we're just not performing. The world is not as good as it would be if we were all operating at a better level. That's sort of my bias here. Some people disagree with that. Some people say maybe we're stopping the world from being a worse place because, humans are a mixed bag. Some people will make it better. Some people make it worse. Okay, I happen to be an optimist. I think that if everyone is performing to the best of their capability, then the world's going to be a better place. But I would be curious to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks, everyone, and I will see you in the next one.